have the opportunity to go to the channel.
The Bhagavad Gita in the second chapter, Sri Krishna tells Arjuna that one need not grieve for one who dies, because even if you believe that the soul takes birth, is embodied again and again, then this is true that the soul is not killed, soul cannot kill, and soul is not disturbed, or it cannot be cut, it cannot be burnt, it cannot be wet, etc. etc. And even if, for argument's sake, somebody is to think that there is no rebirth, etc., then why grieve for something which is anyway going to die? And then he says that a person who is bound by the effects of one's actions will have to take birth again. And also, a person who does not believe in rebirth, then that person will anyway be perished. So that is why the idea is that you ought not to grieve, you don't have to feel sorrow for the people whom you are going to kill, or because you are not going to actually kill the souls, you are just going to destroy the bodies. Then in the 28th shloka of the second chapter he says, Avyaktadini bhutani vyaktamadhyani bharata avyakta nidhananyeva tatra ka paridevana. So ka paridevana means grief. So Bharata, one who belongs to the lineage of Bharata king, here it is meant for Arjuna. Bhutani avyaktadini. So living beings which are unmanifested in the beginning, adini in the beginning, avyakta unmanifested, vyakta madhyani, and in the middle state, madhyani, they get manifested, and avyakta nidhanani, and also nidhanani in the end, they get unmanifested. That means these living beings, when they don't take birth, they are unmanifested. When they take birth, they are manifested. Again, when they die, they are unmanifested. So it is only for the middle some time that they actually are manifested, that you can see them, that they come into being. Otherwise, they are not born, and after death also they are not there. So if that is the case, then why are you grieving? Here, you see, we can take it in another perspective also. For example, relationships of different kinds of relationships in human life. For example, somebody becomes your friend. Before that person became your friend, that person was existing, but you did not know of that person, neither that person knew of you. And so, till you became friends, there was no connection between you two. So it's only after you became friends that there's this connection. And when this friendship will be over, either by the death of either of you, or if there is a quarrel, or whatever the case may be, then again you will have nothing to do with the friend. Similarly with the case of spouse, similarly with the case of children, parents, etc., etc. So all kinds of relationships, they are only limited in time. They are limited in time. When that happened, for example, there is this great argument people give against arranged marriage. What is the argument? That how can I live my entire life with someone whom I have known only for few hours? So this is impossible. This is the idea. But what is love marriage? Love marriage also is like that. You meet that person, instead of it being arranged through your parents, you are meeting that person on WhatsApp or Facebook or Skype or whatever. So that's also not. Only thing is, there your ego works, that you are meeting the person, not that somebody is arranging that meet. So you feel that no, that is my choice. But that's what happens there also. You suddenly meet somebody and you fall in love. It's quite literally true. You fall in love.
Don't rise in love. You don't rise in love.
You fall, at least in that kind of love, you fall. So you fall in love, And then you say that, oh, then you say, I cannot live without you, you cannot live without me, etc. etc.
महाराज, इसमें भी आपने बोला beings are unmanifested before.
Means they don't come into being.
They do not come into being.
As a living being. Before you take birth.
But why the word being is being used here? Because it is a self which is unmanifested before. After.
No. Self is unmanifested all the time.
But it is not manifesting through me, no?
No. That's the idea. Self is not the body.
Self is not the body.
So it is not manifesting also. Self is always the same. There is no change happening in the self. If you say that the self takes birth, self does not take birth. So how will self manifest? Manifesting means taking birth, same thing. Self does not change. You cannot say self is manifesting now, then it is unmanifesting. Self is always the same. Only when ignorance is added, then you see these things. Without ignorance, you will not see anything. So self or Brahman plus ignorance is universe. But without ignorance, you will not see these things. So there is no change happening in self as it is. Atman is always same.
Without ignorance, we will not see these. In that, how the realized person sees those things?
Huh?
The realized person.
Ignorance is there. Even the realized person, prarabdha works. It's called prarabdha. So a person has got God realization. So that person, whatever that person did, actions are of three types. One is agami karma. That means effects of actions are of three types. Agami karma. That means whatever one person has done whatever one person has done, the effect of those actions which will take effect in the next birth. Immediately succeeding birth. That is called agami. And whatever bundle of effects of actions which one person has done across lifetimes, that is called sanchita. And whatever is taking effect in this birth is called prarabdha. Okay. So the example is given of a archer. Archer has a quiver full of arrows and a bow. So the one arrow has been shot already. The arrow which has been shot is prarabdha, which has started taking effect in this life. And the arrow which has been strung on the bow just to be shot is agami. And the quiver full of arrows is sanchita, is the collection of karma phalas. So for a realized soul, what happens? Agami is destroyed. Means that which will happen in the next birth is destroyed because that person has no next birth. And whatever is sanchita, collected full karma stock, that is also destroyed. That is also not there.
And these are destroyed because of the knowledge.
Knowledge. And what is already taking place, prarabdha, that has to be exhausted. So the another example which is given is of a seed which is boiled or roasted. If you roast a seed like coffee seeds, roasted, after that you cannot plant it. So similarly, for a realized soul, all the sanchita and agami karmas are all like seed which are boiled or roasted. They are called dagda bija, means that which has been burnt. So they don't produce any effect. But prarabdha will produce effect. So realized soul actually sees people because of that prarabdha. So avyaktadini bhutani vyakta madhyani bharata. So in the beginning there is bhutani, all the beings, they are manifested. In the middle they are manifested, and then they are anyway unmanifested. So why are you feeling grief, or why are you feeling sorrow for these people? That means whatever is happening only for a limited period of time. It is not eternal. Ashcharyavat pashyati kashchidenam ashcharyavat vadati tathaiva chanyah ashcharyavat chainam anya shrunoti shrutvapienam veda na chaiva kaschit. So here Sri Krishna talks about the nature of Atman. He says kaschit, some people, enam, this self, Atman, ashcharyavat pashyati, look upon this Atman. So how can you look upon Atman? You cannot look upon Atman in that normal sense of the term, but you can consider, you can understand this concept. So many people see this concept of the self or Atman with wonder. How is it possible that something cannot be burnt, something cannot be cut, something cannot be dried, wet, etc.? So this is seen with wonder. Then tatha evacha, also anya, some other person, ashcharyavat vadati, speaks of it as if in wonder. And anyascha, another person, enam ashcharyavat shrunoti, hears about this Atman in wonder. Kaschitcha shrutva api enam na eva veda. So up to this many people do, and what most people do is shrutva api enam na eva veda. After, even though hearing this, does not know it. So does not know it. Why? Why does not somebody know it after hearing? So Duryodhana's predicament is what we have to understand here. Janami dharmam nachame pravrittim, janami adharmam nachame nivrittim. I know what is righteousness, but I am unable to practice it. I know what is unrighteousness, but I am unable to distance myself from it. I am unable to avoid it. Why? Because of desires. Because of desires. So a person may look at Atman, at the self, as something which is marvelous, may talk of it as something which is splendid and wonderful, may hear of it as again something which is unbelievable. But some people, that is most of the people, though they hear, they don't understand it. So how can you understand? Because generally person is always dictated by the pulls of body and mind. And if someone tells you that body and mind, both of them are not true, how can you understand that? How will you understand that? You have to understand that using the mind. So you are caught in a problem. You cannot understand it unless you try to control your mind, unless you try to get beyond your mind and body. At least you try to get beyond the dictates of your mind and body. So that is why again Sri Krishna says, you see, you are not the body, but you are what? You are the embodied. That means you have, because of ignorance, wrongly associated yourself with this body. You are not the body. Dehi nityam avadhyoyam, dehe sarvasya bharata, tasmat sarvani bhutani, na tvam shochitum arhasi. Bharata, O descendant of Bharata, I am this Dehi, indweller, embodied. Sarvasya Dehe Nityam Avadhyah. Sarvasya Dehe, of all bodies, Nityam, always, eternal. Avadhyah, indestructible. Eternally it is indestructible, it is ever indestructible. Tasmat, therefore, Tvam, you, Sarvani Bhutani, all living beings, Shochitum na arhasi, you should not mourn or grieve for any living being. That means this indweller, this person, the Atman, which is there inside every body, is ever indestructible. It is not that it is the Atman which is there in someone's body is different from the Atman which is there in some other body. There is only one Atman, or you can call it Brahman also. So you should not grieve for any creature. Again Sri Krishna comes to the same thing. So always one has to understand that one is not in reality body or mind. So how will you understand that? It is very easy to say that you have to understand, but how will you understand that? So for that, now Sri Krishna gives step-by-step process. What should one do in the beginning? Say someone has not even begun one's spiritual life. What should one do to understand the fact that one is not a body or mind and that one's true nature is Atman or Brahman. So first Sri Krishna tells that in the 31st shloka of the second chapter. He says, Swadharmam apicha avekshya na vikampitum arhasi dharmyadhi yuddhat shreyah anyat kshatriyasya na vidyate. So here he talks about the concept of swadharma. He says, Swadharmam apicha avekshya, looking at one's own swadharma, one's own dharma, vikampitum na arhasi, one should not waver from one's own dharma. Dharmyat yuddhat kshatriyasya anyat shreyah na vidyate. Because for a kshatriya, there is nothing higher than dharma yuddha, a righteous war, or a war for a righteous just cause. So here you see, the idea is first hold on to your swadharma. What is swadharma? That which you have agreed to do. That is swadharma. Suppose you have agreed to sell meat, because in Mahabharata we get this tale of Bhagavad Gita. So you have agreed to sell meat. You have opened up a shop and you say that meat will be available here. So that is your swadharma. You have agreed to sell meat. You ought to sell meat. If agreed to treat, you're a doctor, you have agreed to treat patients, you ought to treat patients. What do you do? Profession.
Dentist.
You are a dentist. So you agreed to break the teeth of all people. So you have to break the teeth of all people. That is the, whatever you have agreed yourself to do. So people have agreed to protect people by joining the police force, but they don't do that. One has agreed to treat patients, does not do that. That is not following his swadharma. Who asked you to become a doctor? You may say, I did not have any interest, my parents forced me, whatever. But now that you have become a doctor, it is your duty to treat patients. Similarly, the duty of a statesman is to administer the state. The duty of a warrior or a soldier is to protect one's nation. The duty of a teacher is to teach. The duty of an accountant is to do that, to maintain proper accounts. So, swadharma, if one does one's own duty, not that which has been imposed on one, but one which one has agreed. Because you enter into a job, there is an application, you are told what the job profile is, in the interview it is told, later on also it is told. Then everything is okay, but then once you get the job, you get the salary, then there is no problem. The moment some deadline comes, you are in tension. Why? You were told all the time that you were supposed to do that. And how did you expect that expectations will reduce? They will only increase in time. So that means if people follow their swadharma, most of the problems in society will be taken care of. So that is why Sri Krishna suddenly, he was talking about the body being destructible and the Atman being not destructible, indestructible, eternal. Suddenly he makes a jump and says that for a Kshatriya, Swadharma is the best. He says this. So, you see, the caste system is quite logical. But the problem began when it was imposed by birth. In Bhagavad Gita, we will later on see that guna karma vibhagasu means vibhagashaha means this jati, it has been divided by qualities and one's actions, not by birth. And it is quite natural, quite normal to have such a division. Quite normal to have such a division. There is a Hollywood movie, Divergent. Has anyone watched? Nobody is into movies. So Divergent. So this movie talks about 5 classes of people in a society, and there is already a sequel to that movie. So that is what. So one group is scholarly, one group is warrior group, like that. So there are 5 groups in that movie. So So they have taken this idea from this Varna system of Indian tradition. So Kshatriya has to fight a just war. A war for a just cause, Kshatriya has to fight. And that is the greatest thing a Kshatriya can do. So here Sri Krishna immediately emphasizes the importance of following one's Swadharma. So even before you enter into spiritual life or religious life, you have to follow Swadharma. Here, dharma does not mean religion in the limited sense of the English word. Dharma means righteousness. So you have to follow Swadharma. Then, yadrichaya cha upapannam swargadvaram apavritam sukhinah kshatriya partha labhante yuddham idrisham. So he says Partha, that means son of Pritha, yadrichaya of itself, automatically, upapannam comes. Verily, apavritam, opened, swarga dwaram, swarga, heaven, gate, dwaram, idrisham, such, battle, yuddham, sukhinah, happy, kshatriyaha, labhante, kshatriyas gain. That means, fortunate are those kshatriyas. They are fortunate. Who are fortunate? O son of Pritha, those kshatriyas are fortunate who are asked to fight in such war that comes automatically. So Arjuna did not go in search of the war, it came automatically to him. As opposed to Duryodhana, who could have avoided the war, but Arjuna got this war without asking. So it comes yadrichaya, means of itself, unsought. So this is what Swarga Dwaram Apavritam. So the gates of heaven have opened. So it's like an open gate to heaven. So they are Sukhinah. Kshatriyas are happy. They will become happy. Because what do Dharma Shastras say? They say, or scriptures, Smriti texts, which talk about one's social codes of conduct, etc. They say that a person, a Kshatriya, who dies in war for a just cause to protect one's nation, goes to heaven. Goes to heaven. Like if somebody dies in a war, one gets medal, etc., is honored. Similarly, a person goes to heaven. So then why are you bothering? So all you have to do is just fight the war. So similarly, if one does one's whatever swadharma properly and may face terrible consequences for that, even then that person is doing good. That is what Sri Krishna is trying to prove. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat.